Hello everybody! Today I'm going to be explaining to you the very best methods to train your horse up, what the different stats are, how skills work, as well as anything else you might want or need to know about training. While I can't say for certain, I would assume that the majority of players when training horses go to Steven. Steven is definitely beneficial, considering that he is able to train up a horse immediately and you don't have to put work into said horse. However, it can be very, very expensive very quick, particularly if you are going to purchase the maximum stat of which you can train your horse to. For this one horse, it would cost me over 7,500 coins. The cost of training is the main drawback and con of using Steven in order to train your horses. However, when it comes to training your horse yourself on Training Island, the main drawback is the fact that it is quite time consuming. You do indeed get benefits, such as when you are training your horse, you are able to collect items known as training receipts and then give them to Steven for special prizes. This includes horses such as Rose Gray and Palomino Reverse Dapple horses, and other items. For example, I received these polo wraps, which are Training Island unique and you can only receive from Steven by giving him these training receipts. As for skill points are these lovely little things that allow your horse to learn and do more. You earn skill points and can only earn skill points by training your horse yourself on the island. So if you want a higher skill point such as a fast gallop or extended gaits, I highly recommend training your horse from the ground up by yourself instead of using Steven. No matter what, it won't save you time, but it will save you tokens, and there is no other way around it if you do want one of these skills. When choosing the skill you want to teach your horse, I highly recommend choosing how much work you want to put into the horse, as well as if you want your horse faster or if it's just for more so a role play or what. The extended gaits are a bit of more on the pricey side in regards to skills, as they require a lot more skill points, but they are very beneficial. Not only do they look nice, but they actually seem to help you move a bit quicker than a regular gait. As such, if you're willing to put it into the time, I do recommend that getting something such as the extended gaits will definitely be worth it in the long run, both in roleplay and just for the sake of time and playing the game when you're trying to go somewhere. Meanwhile, if you just want certain skills for sake of the fact that they look pretty or for roleplays, that's fine too, and I would recommend only training your horse up to that point if you genuinely don't care either way. However, I will say that there are some skills that in the grand scheme of things are not very helpful, such as the Western gaits. These are excellent for roleplays as they give your horse a realistic Western gait, such as the jog and the lope. However, if speed is what you're trying to accomplish, don't buy this. It's horrible. It's really slow. It's pretty, but it's really slow. Again, the majority of these skills are just kind of for fun. They may or may not increase your horse's worth. I'm not sure because generally people do not trade horses with skills. But it is fun to use either when you're bored or you're role playing or just for the sake of having it. As for what I believe is the most effective method of training, both time-wise and so you don't blow all of your tokens, is to train your horse a little bit using Steven. Particularly train stats such as stamina, which have a tendency to take much, much longer to train up. Minor alterations to agility and speed are also often beneficial, but try to keep within a budget so you don't completely blow your tokens. I'm going to spend 1100 on this horse in order to help improve many of these stats, with the majority being spent on endurance, as endurance is again the most monotonous, I personally believe, to train up. When training your horse, I highly recommend talking to Stephanie instead of just going out willy-nilly training your horses. While you could do that, there is more benefits to doing what Stephanie tells you, as you are going to receive more of these training receipts and in turn more items of which you can sell, keep, trade, and even rare horses. So for example, Stephanie is telling me to do the tire pull activity, which is going to help increase my horse's strength. As for the various activities here on Training Island, you usually will know exactly what stat will be most trained before you actually participate. When it comes to the tire pull, it does not tell you, however, I will tell you that it is strength. However, this one also improves your horse's endurance, which is excellent, as again, not very many activities really focus on endurance, and while this one doesn't necessarily focus on it, it does help a lot. Now, the benefits to using this method of first training your horses as much as you will choose based on your tokens and your budget, and then training your horse on the island is incredible because you can only train your horse up to a certain stat from Steven, and it is quite pricey. However, once you get to that maximum stat and you train on Training Island yourself, your horse is able to get a higher level than they were or are able to with Steven. For example, my horse's max stat is at 50 for endurance. However, he is able to go up, or sorry, she is able to go up to 51 if I continue to train her on Training Island. There are, of course, multiple types of activities on Training Island, and while again, I do recommend you go with Stephanie, if you need to improve a certain stat, you're going to be able to figure out exactly which stat every activity focuses on simply by the icon. For example, this show jumping activity will mostly improve my horse's jump stat. However, that's not the only thing it will improve. Aside from the jump stat, this improves my horse's agility and stamina. You can see this as when I hit a checkpoint, the little icons bounce around. So be sure to keep that in mind whenever you are going to train your horse. What stats are you truly willing to go and train by hand? Again, endurance is great, but I recommend training the majority of it using Steven. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little guide and found it useful in order to better train your horses in Wild Horse Islands Roblox. Until next time, bye!